Whatever stage you're at with your trading, it's important to stop and gain perspective before planning your next move. Take a break from the charts and join in the discussion with our hosts, Jason Graystone and Akil Stokes, as they share insights, opinions and expertise on all things trading. Grab a coffee, pull up a chair and join the Trader Coffee Break.
Well. Welcome to the Trader Coffee Break, guys. I hope you're doing well. This is a weekly show. I'm Jason Graystone.
I'm Akil Stokes.
And we're both trading mentors over at tier1trading.com. In case you didn't know, if you've been watching for a while, all the links are in the description. And this is really just a chance to get away from trading, the activity, and just discuss things that are on our mind as traders that we don't normally get to discuss. And this week, we've got a actual request that came into Akil. Do you want to read it, Akil? Or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, sure. I'll go to it. It says, a trader reached out to me and said, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. We'll leave that off. But first and foremost, I'd like to say that your content is amazing, which we appreciate you supporting us. It's great to see that, people, and we get it every day, but it's still at this point in time, it's kind of cool just to see that, hey, the message we're preaching, whether it's trading related, life related, business related, is like hitting home and really helping people. So we appreciate it. Don't be shy about telling us how much you love us. But he says, I have a question about how I can get over my fear and anxiety when it comes to entering my trades. I went through a pretty rough situation with colon cancer when I decided to become a full-time trader and took some major financial losses. Now I have a big fear of losing money and I'm stuck in a rut trying to regain my confidence back. I wonder, could you give me some insight on some sort of things that I can do that will potentially help me out? So essentially, a trader who has attempted trading before, didn't go his way for many reasons, not just trading reasons, but life-related reasons as well, did lose some money, is dealing with that pain and that PTSD basically of those losses, now is trying to get back on the bike, but there's that fear of what happened before may happen again. So how can we get restarted? What would you say, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this happens all the time. People, it's either they go into trading and a family commitment comes up, or a family thing happens, or something happens in their business, or the finances, or a lot of the time people go into trading and they take their eye off of their main income stream, and then their main income stream goes down, and then that puts them into animal mode, and they have to let the trading slip a little bit and get back to that. And then they're kind of in this, oh no, crap, I'm worse off than I thought I would be. And whether it's that happening or whether it's a loss in trading, you've made some progress and you've blown it all, you've got a little bit behind, and you've had this kind of event that's unfortunate and you've lost some money or whatever it might be. It's very, very common to be in this position. That's the first thing I want to say. There's lots that goes on in life, and there was a beautiful passage in Mark Douglas's book, Trading in the Zone, where he says, traders, their job and what's remarkable about trading is you are trying to get consistent results from an uncertain outcome. And that is why it's so ridiculously hard to do, because it is literally consistent results from an uncertain outcome. Now, life is pretty uncertain. There's all these things that throw at us, and there's all this craziness, there's emotions and family and moving parts all over the place. And it's no wonder that trading is so difficult to crack. So whether you've got stuff going on in your personal life right now, or whether it's just that you've taken the series of losses and you kind of need to get back on track, first thing to do is, in my opinion, if you're in that position, just stop trading and reevaluate. Like, what you're doing it for? What's the long-term play? What have you done to date, like to now? Do you have to revisit something? Do you have to go back to the beginning? Do you have to are there any glaringly obvious things that you've done that have caused damage to your trading performance? And I'd personally say start there. So stop trading. What about you, Akil?
Yeah, I would agree. We always talk about trading being like business. And if you ever seen like a takeover of a business where a new owner comes in, the first thing they do is they do a full audit, right? They audit the entire business. They look at the employees, they look at the process, they look at the structure, and they try to identify, hey, what are things that are beneficial? What are things that are holding us back? Unfortunately, sometimes what are things that we can cut? What are things that we need to add? And before taking any action on that business, they want to look at the entire picture, get a full surveillance of the situation, and that way they can start game planning. So I love what you said in the trading aspect. It's not just, hey, strategy. What is my knowledge? What are my pros? What are my cons? Meaning, not just the things that, hey, I do this poorly, but what are things you do good? Are you good at reading a price chart? Are you good at money management? Do you have a really good risk management strategy? Look at those things as well. And then look at things in your personal life. Why am I doing this? What is my reason? Yeah. What are my drivers? What are my kind of, flexibility? And start over with kind of like a fresh look. And I think as traders, we run into trouble so many times because no one's successful at first. It's all ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. But sometimes we get so stuck in like that micro picture of kind of like being in the mix that we don't take enough time to step back and evaluate kind of what the bigger picture is. And that's the gift and the curse of trading. Again, we always say the gift is that we are entrepreneurs. It's our business. We can do whatever we want, whenever we want. The downside of that is there's no one supervising us. So there's no one out there auditing us saying, hey, Akil, you're doing this wrong, or hey, you may want to take a look at that. And again, when you're in the mix in trading, and we deal with this too, it's often hard to step back and, evaluate the situation. So I think that is a really good first step.
Yeah.
I'm always a fan. I've had a lot of restarts in my trading career, is going back to the basics. I think whenever you're in a spot where you've lost confidence, and I guess, if you've quit trading or if you're stuck in a rut, there's got to be some sort of confidence leak. The best thing you can do is regain confidence. So they used to tell me this in sports, playing basketball. Hey, if you're shooting and you're missing everything, which was a common occurrence for me, unfortunately, go to an easy shot, right? Drive to the rim and get an easy bucket, get a layup or get a foul shot where no one can guard you. Like just seeing the ball go through the net is massive for the confidence. So I think as a trader, if you can go back to the basics, so, if you've been trained and you have training courses sitting around, this is what we would tell our traders, right? Go back to the Forex basics course or go back to the Foundation 1 course and like, just go over the simple stuff. And yes, it, you know what a pip is, you know how to read a candlestick, but just by seeing it and being like, oh yeah, I got this one right? We have little quizzes at the end of our training stuff. Just going through the quizzes and saying, hey, I got this right, or hey, I can identify that. That's going to build those small wins and build that confidence up, which you're going to need for the bigger picture. So I think the first step, after the evaluation, like you mentioned, is just start rebuilding the confidence from the ground up. Do the simple stuff and start believing in yourself again, because that's where it all starts, with the confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And you made a great point about like the problem is it is a curse and a blessing at the same time, as with everything in life, right? But it's just sometimes when it is all on you, like it is all on you with trading, but when it is all on you, then you have to be like ultra disciplined. A lot of people think, oh, when I'm my own boss, I can do what I like. But actually, when you're your own boss, you have to be more disciplined because you're not being told what to do. Like no one's going, you need to do this every day. So you haven't got a structure. And if you don't have a structure, then that leads to the risk of blowing a lot of wasted time, going down rabbit holes, feeling alone, following poor advice. So the reason I say stop trading is the best thing is because you might not be able to see the wood for the trees. So stop trading, and then to get confidence, a great thing to do is to start by demo trading again and making sure that it's not something glaringly obvious, not a user error. See if you can iron out any. Eamon had a good point in the comments. Says take the pressure off by going back to demo, small stakes, and then get reps on your strategy and work from there. it's great advice, and you can tell by the caliber of the people in this community, apart from all of those emojis that have just come in.
I'm like, are they good or bad? I'm like waiting for it to get worse.
Apart from that one, it's a great community, and you're going to get sound advice from the people in this group as well. So start small, go into demo trading, reevaluate, make sure that you're doing, you're following your trade plan to the T, and you're not doing anything silly. And also reevaluate why you're doing it. We say this a lot on a lot of these chats, but it's like, why are you doing it? Have your values shifted? Have your values changed? Because if you've gone through something like colon cancer or cancer, and you've gone through that, you might have had a serious shift in values. A lot of people who go through that, they have a serious shift in values, and sometimes money doesn't matter anymore. Wealth building doesn't matter anymore. It's like it's completely like, right, I've got no value on wealth building. And although that's happened to you inside, you come out and you think, all right, I'll get back into my trading, but you don't have the same values on money anymore. And it might be worth just reevaluating that. So that's another one. I apologize for all the, I don't know if it's good or bad. I'll take it as good, Akil. What about you?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to get bad so I can ban them, but it looks like high fives and hearts and peace. So I think it's good.
I know.
But I like the demo trading idea. That's a really good one, because I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, and we know money is a driver. There's other ego things involved in trading as well. But, I thought about asking yourself the question as a trader, like, how good of a trader, and this is the whole animal brain thing you mentioned, how good of a trader would you be if money didn't matter? Like, imagine if you were trading and you're still taking positions, but there was no profit, there was no loss, like there was no financial outcome. Like, do you think we'd be better or worse? And, it'd be an interesting study to see. Maybe that'll be our next turtle trader experiment. But my guess is that with most people, if we're taking serious traders, there's always going to be the person out there that does some wild stuff. My guess is that serious traders would be better, because there would be, assuming they went through the right process and they have a trading plan and backtest, all that fun stuff, because they would be completely process driven, right? There would be no fear of a losing outcome. There would be no greed of a bigger win, because it doesn't matter. It's the same thing when you get wealthy enough, where we know that there are tiers of wealth, where if you're coming from a situation where you don't have a lot of money and you start making increased salary or whatnot, there are some big changes that happen in your life. You can do stuff that you couldn't do before. You can remove yourself from certain situations. You don't have to fear about paying the rent or, taking the significant other out for a date or anything like that. But once you get to a certain level and you can do all the things, all those basic needs are met, it's like, it's more about the game, where it's like, you want to make more money because it's the game of like winning. It's not necessarily like, hey, an extra 10,000 a year is going to change my life. Right. So you start doing things for other reasons. And typically, if you're a good person, you're doing for better reasons. Yeah. So it makes me think about that when this person says, hey, I've got fear and anxiety over entering trades. What is that fear and anxiety over? Is it an ego-based thing where it's like, I need to win all the time? And that's one side of the story that would need to be addressed, because we all have ego, but there are some very egotistic traders out there. Or is it, and I would guess in this case, it's more of a financial thing, because he said in the past he took major financial losses. So it's probably that fear. So whenever you're in that situation, the best thing you can do is start small. I think every new trader should start small, meaning trade a position size so small that it is insignificant. Like if you imagine like you're walking down the street and you're like, oh man, $1 dropped out of my pocket like 10 blocks back, right? You'd be mad, okay, whatever like that, but you probably wouldn't walk back 10 blocks to go get it, right? So there's a very little kind of financial stimulus there or emotional stimulus there, right? Versus if you dropped like $100 bill, you're probably tracking back and going to get it. So start small to the point where that money doesn't really matter, and see if that can help you develop those good habits. And then as you get more comfortable with developing those good habits and the confidence that comes along with those good habits, you can always kind of slowly increase later.
Yeah, great advice. And I would just add finally to that is just that as there is blessings and curses in everything, try to boost morale a little bit. Just try and see the lessons in the losses. And I know it sounds like it's a hard thing to do. And some people say to me, there's no lessons. There's nothing good about what happened there. Well, I promise you there is. You know, you're just not seeing it. You're blind to it. And if you can just realize what that is, it might be something little. It might be thousands of pounds. I mean, how much did you lose? Why did you lose it? Was it a mistake? And how much would that save you if you made that mistake going into the future? You know, how much has that actually generated you in income? And if you can start to look at it that way and see the good in the bad, you'll start to dissolve this kind of depression that you've got over this thing that happened to you, which was just an event. It was just something that happened along your way in your trading journey, and it's going to give you lessons that are going to then generate more money in the future. So what was the lesson worth? You know, there'll be a figure. What was that lesson worth to you? And you can put a value on it and you go, great, I'm thankful for that lesson. And I know some people are in positions where you just can't believe that would ever happen, but I promise you, you go through the process, it's very, very liberating to leave things like that as they were and see them as and be grateful for them.
Dude, it's so true, man. Like I don't understand people that don't believe there are not lessons in losses, because a loss is something that gave you an outcome that you weren't, I don't want to say weren't expecting, but you weren't happy with.
Yeah.
Like, it is the perfect blueprint of how to do things different next time, right? I get asked all the time about, hey, what are my biggest trading regrets? Or if you can turn back time, like, what would you do differently in your trading? And my answer is, right, it's always like nothing. Like, you know, you can say stuff like maybe I would have started earlier or later, but you don't even know if that would be a good thing. But the ups and downs that I went through in my personal journey, like, I love them because, like, they basically told me what not to do. Like, all the dumb stuff I did showed me, when you look at it and evaluate it, like, hey, this dumb stuff costs you money. This dumb stuff costs you money. It basically gave me a checklist of like a do not do list. And then becoming successful was basically, along with continuing to develop the skill, was basically avoiding all the stuff that lost me money in the past.
Yeah.
So, but you have to have that right mindset. Like you said, you can't just be upset over it. You have to look at it as an opportunity. And if you think about it, like you said, the past already happened, right? You can't do anything about it. So you have two choices. Either I'm going to use it as a negative, it's something that's going to hold me back from my future, or it's going to be a positive and it's something that I can use to kind of boost me up for my future.
Yeah.
Those are the only two choices, and it's up to you.
It is. And a great, something one of my mentors taught me was, you know, you have to be able to be thankful, or you have to be able to look back at your life and look at it as this long series of events that happen, and you have to really love and accept everything that happened to you up until this point and not want to change anything. So if you look back at your life and I say, what would you want to change? It should be nothing, because if there's something you're not loving and owning about that whole journey, that is going to hold you back in some way, or it's going to trip you up in some way because you're not looking at it realistically for what it was. And I think that's really, really powerful if you can just think, you know, all these things that happened to me, what don't I want people to know about? So it's a good exercise, right? What would I be ashamed about? Because that shame is holding you back from something. That fear is holding you back from something. So worth thinking about. Anyway, you guys have really hit the comments today. Apologies if we've missed any. Chris Law, it's your first coffee break. Welcome. Why is it your first? That's my first question to you. And yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, look, I hope you got value from that. I'd be interested to see what you guys think and how you deal with fear and anxiety around trading. And of course, anxiety only comes from having an expectation that your trading should be doing something that it isn't. Remember that as well. So it's usually something you're doing that's causing the anxiety, or something that you're trying to do that you're not quite ready to do, which is causing anxiety. So always pick up when you're feeling anxious and use it as a mechanism, as a warning, like an alarm going off to go, hang on, get back, you know, listen to your body, listen to yourself, reevaluate this thing. I think that's it. Akil, anything else to add?
Not really. I love what you said about anxiety. I met with a performance coach and meet with a performance coach a lot over the last couple of months. And one thing she says is the same exact thing, where it's like, understand, like, why is that anxiety coming? Like, you are creating it with your false expectations or not being grounded and centered. So take a second to just reground yourself and get some mindfulness time, and you'll realize, like, I'm creating this thing. So I think that's big. Wasn't expecting to learn about psychology and trading, but so glad I did. I don't think any of us are, right? I don't think any of us go into trading thinking we're gonna become psychology majors, man. And then, like,
and then
we
you realize
realize, like,
the biggest thing.
Yes. Like, you're like, strategy, whatever. There's like thousands of them. I'll choose one. Like, I got to master myself first. And it's like,
yeah,
it's funny because I always avoided psychology my whole life purposely. And then it's like, darn it.
Yeah, I remember, like, one of the first stories I told when I got into trading was I went into it as a businessman, and I thought it would be easier than it was. And that then gripped me because I couldn't do it. So it was like, hang on a minute. My competitive self was like, why can't I do this? The strategy's easy. Like, this is easy. I get the numbers. I know. Why can't I make profit? And that was it. That's what, deep dive into the, I need to work on why I'm making certain moves or doing certain things or damaging my own results. And I've been on that journey ever since. So, psychology's 80-90% in trading. Cool. All right, well, that just leaves us to say thanks for tuning in. If you have any topics you want us to discuss on this coffee break, because you can see it's very interactive. This is a live session, so we tune in live and have a drink together and talk. So if you want to bring up any topics, put them in the comments and we'll drag them into the next sessions, and you can join us for that conversation where you'll have something to contribute there as well. Appreciate you showing up, guys. And until next week, take care. Have a great rest of your day. And me and Akil will see you soon.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media. And remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.